energy.
Alright guys, welcome back to the holiday special here on Pure Evil MMA, and I have a special guest for everyone known as Roxy Astor, one of the faces of G.L.O.W, which if you haven't seen it, you can go check it out on Netflix. They did a great documentary, and also they have this series going on right now. So Roxy, thanks for joining us here today on Pure Evil MMA. First off, how are you doing today? Are you ready for the holidays?
I'm doing good, but I have to say, if you haven't seen us, go check us out on YouTube, because we're the 80s, but definitely do check out the G.L.O.W Netflix, but check out us, check out our documentary, and then you can check out the G.L.O.W Netflix if you haven't already.
See, that's what I did. Like, my uncle is very familiar with you. With you guys, and as I was growing up, I was a huge fan of wrestling, but you guys were really the pioneers of, you know, where the divas are today. They have the show Total Divas, and you guys really paved the path.
Yeah, isn't that great though to kind of be compared to something like that? Because I think it's so crazy where female wrestling is going and where it's going to keep continuing. You know, it's even with the show, what is that, the Diva show?
Yeah, yep.
The reality show, and just, I mean, it's like, you know, it's women wrestling this year. It's crazy. It's about time, that's all I can say. With all the bad stuff going on, this is a good thing.
Well, you guys, like I said, paved the pathway, because back then there weren't any, you know, really big organizations funding all female wrestlers. And if they saw a wrestler, like, oh, female wrestlers, they think of somebody like, you know, Matilda the Hun, and you know, used to think you guys were either lesbians or you had to be freak shows, but you and people like, you know, Tina Ferrari and people like that really showed young girls that, you know, you can be pretty and you can fight and you can wrestle.
Okay, but I have to say Matilda the Hun is one of my best friends.
Well, of course, Matilda from the very first, you know, episode that they did for G.L.O.W, and you came in after the 2 years replacing Tina Ferrari. Were you familiar with G.L.O.W at the time before you joined?
Okay, the funny, I was a fan of G.L.O.W, so it's kind of like, just imagine you're watching your favorite TV show and they're like, we're looking for a few people to fill this part, you know, like let's say Friends or something, and you're like, yeah, I wanna go fill that part on Friends, and you love the show, and then you end up getting the show, then you end up following the person that you love on the show. So that's kind of how my story was. I watched it, I was a fan, and then I ended up taking, you know, over, you know, in a different way, Tina Ferrari's place. We were from New York. We were the East Coast girls. They were the West Coast girls.
So were you actually from New York?
Sure. Yeah.
You know, something that I found so interesting when I was watching the documentary, I mean, it was a roller coaster of emotions. You know, I literally cried. I even rewatched it last night and cried again. What did you think about the documentary? Did they do a good job, you know, setting the mood for what you guys were going through at the time and the fun that you guys had and the troubles that you guys had?
Well, yeah, when you say you cried, you probably cried at the end where we all got together and Mountain Fiji came in and saw everybody. I think that's the part. Is that the part that got to you?
Yeah, as soon as you guys were singing the song when she enters the doors, I started bawling my eyes out.
Right, and, you know, it's not like, you know, the whole tone of the documentaries, you know, you're crying, you're kind of like, wow, I really understand these girls. And the thing is, though, too, even like the indie wrestlers, and, you know, I cried during The Wrestler, you know, with Mickey Rourke, because I'm like, you know, this is what they really had to deal with. And I have to say that, you know, like being in G.L.O.W, we did not go through a lot of the things that these wrestlers go through now. And, you know, we kind of like just jumped on TV. And so, you know, you see the documentary, and sure, we went through a lot. We took our bumps, and, you know, you got Matilda, who's in a wheelchair now, and you have Mount Fiji, who's in, you know, she's bedridden for years. So, yeah, we did go through a lot, and it's sad that our giants, you know, this has happened to them. It touched up on a lot of, you know, seeing Mondo Guerrero. He's great. He was at my first After G.L.O.W stage show, and he's amazing. So, you know, it was great. And it was things that I even didn't know from watching it, you know. And I remember that day when we all got together at that hotel. I think it was the DoubleTree, and and not Matilda. I don't think Matilda was there. I can think of it, but Mount Fiji coming in, and just to see her face, it was like what you saw in that video. Just intensify it, 100 times more. That's how we felt, and we hadn't seen a lot of these girls like in years. So that was like truly genuine. The guys got it exactly how it was. You couldn't have said, cut, let's redo. It was just a one take thing, like whatever happened. And I think that part was very, very genuine. The only thing I had, I think, kind of against it, not really against, but I think it could have been more, more girls. I think they should have reached out to a few more girls. And there was a lot of interviews. I think, well, if they, they could have cut down and added more girls. So you've got, their viewpoint. So that was my only thing. I mean, I did an interview of like an hour, and I think I got 10 seconds on the couch, with my daughter sitting next to me. I'm like, I had a lot of good stuff to say, cut, edit, thrown out. So, it's their thing. I was happy to be a part of it. I think it opened the doors for a lot of people going, okay, G.L.O.W, yeah, where is it? And then you have the G.L.O.W Netflix. So it was a good door opener. I think it's great. And it won a lot of awards, I think, at the Tribeca. And I like hearing that people were touched by it. So that's great.
Yeah, and I definitely have some questions about, what's going on now and with the cruise and everything. But I just want to reminisce a little more about what you were talking about with,
Sure.
Matilda right now and Mount Fiji. I think they did a great job talking about, the ring. I mean, what was the ring actually made out of, and what are they made out of now?
Okay, you're asking somebody who basically just kind of walked in and did her match. From what I've heard, the G.L.O.W ropes were very, very cushiony and comfy. And I think compared to now, like some of the indie wrestlers, I'm sure, they have they're a lot tighter, and, you can actually get hurt from them. The ring, I know we bounced, and it sounded good, and I think that's all that matters. I think back in G.L.O.W, we were a little bit more cushy than what they are now. So I don't know what they make them out of. I just know that, sure you felt it, sure it was loud, but you also had the microphone right there to catch all that, But you could still get hurt. Doesn't matter. Any kind of ring, soft, hard, you could still get hurt.
So another thing about I found really interesting is how they really made you guys live your roles. And if not, you guys were fined. You had curfews. Did you ever get in trouble for being out too late or breaking character? Did you even ever break your character?
Oh yeah. When I was walking to the ring, I was kind of like a rock and roll type chick, not not Roxy Astor. I had bleached blonde hair, and I was wearing black leather going out at night, and high-heeled black boots. Okay, you got the vision there, right?
Yep.
And and then Roxy was all about diamonds and hair and glitter, and just, she had Jeeves as her butler, and, just credit cards and shopping. Okay, no, that was so opposite from what I was. But when we were assigned the characters, it was kind of like, okay, Roxy, you're from Park Avenue. And I'm like, where's that? I'm from Auburn, Washington. So I had no clue. And we had no internet back then. So you had to kind of figure out, either through papers or reading or something, Park Avenue, what it was. So I kind of just based my character on, okay, I had lots of money. I was a little bit upbeat, but yet, like Tiffany was more the giggly, crazy girl, silly, but she was actually really smart. She was not like that at all. So I think our characters, we were so opposite of the characters that I think it actually worked when we brought them to life. But my kids tell me to this day that I kind of act like Roxy, and my daughter, for a joke, gave me a t-shirt that when I get into this mode and I want to get something done, it's called Roxy mode. Like, get out of her way. She's got a thing to do, and she won't stop until it's done. So that's Roxy mode.
Did you feel like you had big shoes to fill replacing Tina Ferrari?
Well, I did, but then I thought, no, I don't want to fill her shoes. I want my own shoes.
Yeah. Yep.
As a Park Avenue girl, we don't wear used shoes, okay? So I wanted to, do it kind of the opposite. I mean, they're West Coast, we're East Coast, and I'm sure people are going, Roxy sucks compared to Dina Burke, and I'm sure I got that, but I did not want to, be compared to her, even though we were totally opposite. My thing, I think that I was a little threatened by, and like, she had muscles. And I'm like, there is no way I'm going to be able to, and genetics, probably working out, whatever it was, I'm going to be able to get myself to look like that. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to look like that. I want to be a different version of that, because if you're in Park Avenue, New York, you're not really going to be at the gym. The only thing you're lifting are shopping bags.
That's a good point.
So I'm like, okay, so I'm going to just kind of do the opposite of what she would do, and it worked, because I think if I would have, like, kind of, knowing me, I kind of obsessed with, oh my gosh, it's got to be like this. If I would have done that, I don't think it would have worked, and in my head it would have been a little intimidating. So I just kind of went off with my own character, Tiffany and I, and it was, you knew who we were. We were the, Park Avenue Knockouts. You knew who they were, but yet we were, our own people and stuff. So I think it worked. You?
Did you have a background?
I asked you, did you think it worked?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's part of my next question. I mean, you really sold it between the acting and the wrestling. Did you have a background in it before? Because you really did sell it, because if people really think it's fake, they're not going to be into it. I mean, if you look at the crowd and everything, you definitely sold it. And one of my favorite matches that I thought you did really great acting was the fight with you and Dementia.
Oh my God, that's my favorite match. That is my favorite match of all time. Yeah, no acting experience at all. I was a hairdresser, like I said, from Auburn, Washington. But being a hairdresser, you got to kind of be on, like you're talking to your clients, and so it kind of goes with that. But to be in front of a camera and in a little tiny outfit, if I would have really thought about it, I think it would have psyched me out. I knew that I had to be there. I knew I wanted to be there, and I knew I was not going home from the time I stepped foot in Vegas, because it was either this or going back to being a hairdresser and being normal. And I'm definitely so far from being normal that I just knew I had to be there. So no acting, no wrestling experience, nothing at all.
And something that I find really interesting is this whole wrestling life never went away with you. I mean, now your daughter is kind of into business. What's going on with her? I heard that she was on a show, that you were a judge or something like that.
Okay, well, I'll give you like a little bit of background.
Okay.
She was in Wrestlicious. I think she was 18 years old, and that was Johnny C., who was Johnny Caparella in G.L.O.W. The wrestler, she played Juvie Hall when she was 18. And she was a great, great character. And you know what? I have to say, she had amazing hair for Juvie Hall, because I did it, just so you know. And so it was like her first match, and she wrestled this character that was kind of like the big, Sally Farmer's daughter type character.
Yeah,
she wrestled her. And my daughter has never done a match in front of the camera or anything. So, and I'm like so nervous for her. I don't know how she's going to act. And she kind of walked up to like this 50-something-year-old guy, sat on his lap, ruffled his hair, and shoved him away. I go, yep, that's my daughter.
Sold it.
When she was 18. So I'm like, okay, so she's got the wrestling bug, but she's kind of holding herself back. She had a WWE tryout. She did great. She made it through. You had Triple H that looked at her and said, good job. She got to meet Dusty Rhodes before he passed, probably a couple weeks before he passed. And, so she got to actually, be in that, that place in Florida, the NXT, and she was just like, who she was? She was with, I forgot, Rachel or something, one of the Warriors or something. I know I should know this. And she would call me and go, oh my God, we can't walk. We have blisters. I don't even know how we're going to do this. Oh my, and she's like crying, right? She goes, she gets back, because I have her call me after each day. She goes, that was freaking amazing. I go, well, how did you do it with the blisters and everything? She goes, I don't know, but we did. So you kind of get, so she got the bug there, and she actually got a maybe. So for her, a maybe was kind of like, a turn down, but it's not. It's kind of like, they want to see where you're going to go after this. Now this is like three years later, and now you see, okay, G.L.O.W is everywhere. G.L.O.W Netflix, G.L.O.W is everywhere. Now would be the time for her really to be out there. So she's out there, and something will happen with her. Something will happen because she's got the bug, and once you get the bug, even like with me, even if I'm not wrestling, I will be doing something with G.L.O.W, which is why I do the Afterglow, because I just feel like we're here. There's something still there with the girls, and I think when you get that in you, with her too, it just doesn't go away. So we'll see. I think this will be the year for the Afterglow.
I mean, it's got to be blowing up because of the whole Netflix thing. Have you definitely seen a big boost in people reaching out to you, adding you on Facebook and whatnot?
Well, we've always had an ad on Facebook, but I don't know if you have looked at my Facebook page where you saw the pictures of us when we met the girls, the G.L.O.W Netflix cast at the WWE No Mercy pay-per-view. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
Ah, okay. And the funny thing is, so we got VIP tickets, and we watched the No Mercy, and we're in a VIP area. And then all of a sudden we had Eileen MTV, and she's filming, this is us at the, WWE No Mercy VIP. And the girls walk in from the G.L.O.W Netflix cast. They walk in. And the tall girl that looks like the Matilda type character, and she goes, oh my God, it's you. And you got Allison Brie, Betty Gilpin, the two hairdressers, I think they got like 9 girls there, and they're screaming when they see us. They're like, it's you guys, and we're like, it's you guys, and we got some video, and it ended up on TMZ.
Oh wow!
Where Allison Brie is, and I'll have to send that. Look at, I think you might have seen that one, the TMZ where Allison Brie said she was starstruck meeting us, and it's neat because there's a few interviews where she's mentioning how cool it is that that she got to meet us, and they watched their YouTube videos, and they saw us, and now she's up for a Golden Globe Best Actress, and SAG Awards, Golden Globes, Critics' Choice. So yeah, it's definitely blowing up for them. But on the other end, I have some things also into the works for the original G.L.O.W girls.
Well, before we get into that, I got to ask you, and I'm sure people who have checked out the series on Netflix, and I just started it. So don't ruin it for me, but what do you think about it? I mean, how did they do a good job portraying it? Because they didn't really, take you guys specifically and it's like, oh, that's Tina Ferrari. Oh, that's Roxy Astor. Oh, that's, what did you guys think about the series?
Well, okay, you got to understand too, kind of a quick little backstory is when that was released that there was a G.L.O.W Netflix, we had our fans reaching out to us going, oh, I'm so excited for you guys. And, we'll be watching this. And then, we would say, well, we're not a part of this. They're like, why not? So, they wanted to know how we were mixed up with this or how it affected us. But we weren't. And it wasn't like, we were like upset. We were just, there was a lot of confusion with the fans and with the G.L.O.W girls. So with the confusion came, it kind of sounded like, a lot of the girls were bitter or, it was just a lot of confusion with the fans because it's G.L.O.W, the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. It wasn't just a regular show. It was actually us. So there's confusion, but we have no idea of what or where. And we did a lot of interviews. And, and I'll say this again. I love the girls, love the characters. I didn't go like, oh, my God, I love this show like a lot of people did. But like I said, maybe it was because I was a little too close and I lived it. Because, yes, there is a lot, not to give too much away, there is a lot of similarities to us and about us in there. But it's if you want to have a good time, just, it's like I watch Let's Make a Deal 9 o'clock in the morning, and you just want to kind of just watch something very cool and just, not too political or not too, just something fun, then definitely watch it. And talking to one of the girls, season 2, there's a few good things coming up. And this is actually talking to one of the girls from the G.L.O.W Netflix. So we're excited to see that.
Now, and we can get into this, with the documentary, it seemed like a lot of you guys haven't talked to one another, and then you guys all met up, and now you guys are doing a cruise for all the G.L.O.W fans. And what exactly is this? Like, say for instance, I'm going on the internet, I'm a big G.L.O.W fan, and I see it. What is in that package for me? What do I get for my dollar?
You get more buck for your dollar. Like I have, what do I get for my dollar? Okay, what do you want?
So you guys tell like
what it is okay. I started the Afterglow stage show, and that was October 2014. And never thinking, like, hey, I'm going to bring this on a cruise. And I thought, how can we do something with the fans, something a little different, with the fans? And I had the opportunity come to me. So we did our first cruise. And so what you do is, besides getting your cruise, you get all the Afterglow events included. But not only that, you get to hang with the G.L.O.W girls. We don't lock ourselves in a room and like, showtime. Then you get to come out and shake our hands. You end up becoming our friends, and you hang out with it. I got Christmas cards from a lot of the people on the cruise. They have my address. That's how much I trust them and love them. And we're having breakfast with them. We're eating with them at 2 o'clock in the morning. We're partying with and dancing with them, till 2 o'clock. So these girls, the G.L.O.W girls that are going, are so involved and love the G.L.O.W fans. We call them the Afterglow fans now, because everything now is Afterglow. And, without G.L.O.W, there wouldn't be Afterglow. But without these girls, there is none of it. So, and without the fans, there still is nothing. So you get that, the combination with the G.L.O.W girls, with the G.L.O.W fans. You do some G.L.O.W events. We're doing one, we're having, actually, Gremlina and her husband are having a wedding and renewing their vows on the Afterglow cruise, and all cruisers are invited. And this is not your typical thing. From what I heard, she might be walked out on a leash.
Classic.
You didn't
hear
that from me. That's just a rumor I heard. Nothing is as it seems.
That is classic.
We also have the Afterglow Gong Show. And with every event I do, there's always a twist, which is, and they'll ask me all year, what are you doing, Roxy? I can't tell you. I want things to be a surprise. Here's your event. And we have the G.L.O.W fans that are going to be part of the Afterglow Gong Show. And we're going to have our 4th Afterglow stage show, which is a fan interaction show. We have a fan hot seat where the fans can ask us questions. And we've had like a truth or dare where we had some crazy stuff happening. I think we had Matilda Hun was motorboating some guy she brought out from the hall.
That's awesome.
While his wife is standing right there after renewing their vows.
Oh, God. That is so awesome.
And we had a pie eating contest last year where, they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to, we had the G.L.O.W girls sitting down, and they're like, yeah. And I'm like, who wants to see G.L.O.W girls eat pie? And they're like, yeah. And then I stopped and I go, okay, G.L.O.W girls, go pick somebody you want out of the audience. So we had the fans exchange with the G.L.O.W girls, and then I gave like pieces of paper where one person had to be fed by a G.L.O.W girl, one had to be blindfolded, one had to be, we had like little things with it, and it was so funny. I'll have to find the video for you on that too. And at the end, I knew it was somebody's birthday, so I blindfolded them, and I got a can of whipped cream, and I had it filled to the top. And he got so sick at the end. It was dangerous to watch, but it was so much fun. So, like I said, you just never know what's going to happen. You're going to see these flyers, and it's going to look all fun, but there's always more, because the G.L.O.W girls they're a fun group. And we also have a masquerade ball. A masquerade ball with the G.L.O.W girls.
Because it's obviously you guys can't really perform anymore. So hearing these stories and...
Hey, bite your tongue, okay? What we lack in the ring, we definitely make up in spirit and fun. Like, I don't think any 21-year-olds will even have anything on us when it comes to having a blast.
So another really big thing that's going on right now, obviously you got this cruise thing going on, the Netflix thing going on, but I kind of saw you on a show that I didn't expect you to be on, and it had to do with your pet.
Oh God. Yeah. Yes, you did. You know what? I'm an animal lover, and I was actually going through a divorce, and I thought, you know what? My daughter brings home this dog, and it's not my dog. That's number one, I have to say. And it was a big dog, and I had a mastiff who was blind, and I had a couple Pomeranians. So we bring this dog in, and this dog is like trying to bite my mastiff, bite the Pomeranians, but I'm like, oh gosh, if I bring it to the shelter, it's going to be killed.
Yeah.
So it was not my dog. And then when the crew came in, I had to lock this dog up in like where the pool is, so he wouldn't bite people. But they made it sound like this is where the dog was, and they wouldn't, and they fed it plastic, and you know, like I'm trying to like clean the poop, and they're like, no, can you just wait? And then I'm looking at it, and they're like, the dog was never picked up, or I put my life on hold for a dog I did not know, so it did not go into the shelter. And I got what? I got a free doghouse. I got the dog. I ended up getting I think it went to Linda Blair's ranch out there. Sorry, I think I really, did good by that. And the dog's name was Peanut Butter, but the dog did have some issues. But I still didn't give him up to a shelter, so.
And of course,
it's weird how Hollywood will make things, look totally different.
Oh yeah, we see that on almost all reality shows, no matter what it is. They'll take a clip from 3 days prior from that actual scene and slip it in there. But for everybody listening,
yeah, I would never do anything like that again unless I had some control. Because we had a pool, and my daughter, the one that was in the wrestling, she had on these jeans, and I would tell the people, the production company, that you have this dog, kids can't go down the slide, when they're swimming. And I think I only had the dog for like maybe a month or something. And they're like, okay, let the dog loose. Let her go down the slide. I'm like, well, hello? I think the dog's going to like chew her. So the dog's like going after her. And they're like, okay, let's do that again. I'm like, you guys are horrible.
They got it. They got to get the content.
Oh, yeah. And then I think she had a little shot of her G-string, right?
Oh, God.
Oh, we're like online going, oh, yeah, nice shot. And it's like, oh, shut up, you pervs.
So for everybody listening, you can check out this episode. It was called, what was it? It's Me or the Dog, right?
Yeah. Yes.
It's Me or the Dog. So before we let you go, do you think that you guys might be in the next season of G.L.O.W? Are they going to try to associate you into the show a little more? Where are things going from here with you and association with G.L.O.W and possibly even the show?
Okay, you have G.L.O.W Netflix. It is a total separate thing from the G.L.O.W girls. Sure, it was inspired by us. Sure, it was, but, where do you cut the string? Do you bring the girls over there? Do you, mix it up? I think if they were going to bring us in, I think it would have, and it should have been the first season. Yeah. Well, obviously, nobody was there, so I don't think there's really a need, to bring the girls in. But let me just tell you one thing. I have a lot that I'm working on right now. Everybody knows that I'm in Roxy mode with the Afterglow, just so you know. I'm in complete Roxy mode from the time I wake up until I go to sleep. And so it's opened up a lot of doors for certain things. But I don't think there's a need for us to really be there. People know, because they are now saying in interviews, about the G.L.O.W girls. I think before maybe they couldn't, but now they are. So people are aware of who we are, and that, how they were inspired, and, the whole show was inspired by us. So, without us, it would have just been a women's wrestling show, and I don't think it would have gotten really the play that it's gotten. But I don't think there's really a need for it. Who knows? Maybe in the future, you just never know. Like I said, this is Hollywood. You never know what's going to happen. But I know on my end, with the Afterglow and the girls that I have involved, you will be seeing us out there soon.
Last thing I gotta ask you,
but you will.
The very last thing I have to ask you, because it goes hand in hand. You got to see Ronda Rousey, and Ronda Rousey is the pioneer in mixed martial arts for females. And she grew up, watching wrestling, being obsessed with wrestling. You were able to watch her fight. What's your thoughts on Ronda Rousey and her opening up doors and everything?
Oh God, cause see, I'm a huge MMA fan. In fact, my boyfriend is Dan Magnus.
Oh, nice.
He's a world champion kickboxer, and his son is Brandon, and he's a photographer at UFC in Las Vegas, and he's actually there at all these shows. He got his tickets when we were watching the Ronda Rousey fight, where it ended, I think, in like 12 seconds.
Yeah. Yep.
Remember the one? Was that the Staples Center?
Kat Zingano?
I don't remember. It was when she was at her height, and and I just remember watching her walking out very, very cocky. But I have to say, before that, it was Holly Holmes that was right before her, and I looked at Dan. I go, okay, this Holly Holmes, this is a tough girl. This is the one to watch. And I said that because she could box. She could, MMA. She could do things that Ronda Rousey could not do. And also, too, back then you only had a certain amount of girls that were able or that were into. So, they're, once again, Ronda Rousey maybe the pioneer of the way it was going compared, how G.L.O.W was to wrestling. So we all looked at Ronda Rousey. The only thing that I saw happening with her, she knocked somebody or pinned somebody with was it an arm bar or something?
Yep.
Like within 12 seconds.
Yeah.
She walked out very cocky, and that's also, people building her up or whatever. And I thought people would be so disappointed that she did that in 12 seconds. People loved it because I think Holly Holmes put on an amazing, show right before that. So you had Holly Holmes, that was great. Then you had a 12-second one with Ronda Rousey. And then when we saw, with Ronda Rousey happening, and we saw her on, what was the show with Sylvester Stallone?
The Expendables.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, maybe you need to go back to yeah, don't kind of venture out there. I think she got so caught up in her own hype, and she kind of lost, maybe the fire for doing that. But she was the one that opened up a lot of doors for the girls, which is great. But Holly Holmes, to me, is, I think, the most amazing one. And now we're going to have a lot of other girls. But I think it was Holly that grabbed the attention, and now she's going to be, I guess, in the WWE.
Yeah, Ronda Rousey's
flirting with the attention
WWE
again.
Yep.
Hopefully she gets a little bit more acting experience.
I know a lot of people who are saying the same thing.
Yeah, but look what she did. That's all you talked about. And you know what? When you're up on top, everybody's going to love you when you're up on top. And when she was down, she felt so bad about herself, and I really felt really bad for her. And then, she's going to be right back up on top, and, and I hope she remembers everybody that was there for her. My boyfriend's son actually got, I think, the shot where she got that kick in the face,
head kick.
where you see that.
Wow.
And can you imagine even having that picture, when you're like this champ, and you have that picture out there.
Circulating,
that's going to stick with you for a lot. So it's either going to, either make you meaner or, what do you do? What do? You go to the WWE.
Maybe she needs to find that spark again.
Yeah, I think she kind of lost that. What do you call it? The eye on the prize?
Yeah, eye of the tiger too. Yeah.
yeah. So that's what I feel like. I think she got built up so much, she kind of slacked on other things. Because like I said, my boyfriend who's watching, we watch the fights together, and we're watching, as Holly's doing her punches to Ronda, and I'm like, you got like two different types of ways, but you've got somebody who can punch and somebody who can grapple. Is that what you call it?
Yep.
And when you have that, and you only have Ronda that can do that, I mean, of course that was going to happen. So I'm just excited for, how it's going to go, and I just, hope Ronda could step it up with her acting, and, I'm excited for it. But I love my Holly Holmes.
And it all goes back to G.L.O.W. It all goes back to Roxy Astor, and I want to thank you so much for coming on Pure Evil MMA. For all of you guys out there that haven't seen the documentary on Netflix, I mean, everyone has Netflix, you have to watch this. I shed tears twice watching it, and the one thing that I really took out of it is how you really need to appreciate right now, live in the moment. And as we get towards the holidays, guys, I want to thank you guys for tuning into Pure Evil MMA. Roxy, thank you so much for joining us here on the holiday special. And before we let you go, is there anything else that you would like to say to our audience and your fans?
Yeah, I would like to say, hey, if you guys, that we still have room on this cruise. If you want the cruise of a lifetime, we're going now from New York to the Bahamas, and we just pulled in. I don't know. Have you heard of Loot Crate? They do the surprise WWE boxes.
I think so.
Okay, this is Loot Crate. They're major. I mean, so they've actually given us some boxes to give away on the cruise, surprise boxes to give to the fans. So we're very excited. And we're in the works of doing a Bon Voyage party in New York. So if you New Yorkers want to come out and say hi to the G.L.O.W girls, there will definitely be, I'll be putting that all over my social media. So Loot Crate, we're very excited to have them with us. And March 4th through the 11th is when the cruise is. We have a lot of G.L.O.W girls that are just ready to party and get this 2017 past year out of the way and just move forward with the 2018. You can go to www.afterglow@sea.com. If you have any questions, I'll accept your friend request, right? Didn't I do that for you?
Of course.
Yeah, I looked at it a few times, but then I said, yeah, I'll accept it. So, maybe you should check out this cruise.
Yeah, you know what? I might even check out if you guys are coming to New York, because I'm right here by New York City, so maybe I'll stop in. I'll be sharing the link on my social media page as well, but for everybody listening, where can they find you on social media other than Facebook?
I'm on Twitter as Roxy Astor 1, and Facebook always, and soon to be Instagram by the push of my kids. But hey, you know what? If you're out in New York, why don't you come out and do some interviews?
I would love to. So we'll definitely talk about that. I want to thank you so much for coming on. I was looking so forward to this interview, and I really appreciate you spending time here on the show.
Thank you, and thank you for bringing up something I didn't want to bring up, the dog.
Happy holidays, Roxy.
So it's my fault.
Have a happy holiday.
All right.